What's going on, everyone? It's time for another B movie horror film review. Today we're going to be talking about a film called The Craving. It was released by Biscuits and Gravy Productions sometime in 2007 and is produced by Jason Keller, written and produced by Curtis uh, Crick, and produced and directed by Sean Dillon, who also did three other films: Town Planner, Something Blue, and Significant Others. So the craving. Well, this is somewhat of a creature feature, almost like a psychological thriller mixed in with it. Of a group of kids going on young adults going on a road trip to Burning Man. No, wait, that's the other one. Is yeah, they're going on a road trip to the desert, and they end up having problems and stumbling across a house in the middle of the desert. And so as they go, um, they hear this weird goat like scream, and yeah, basically, they have to fend for their lives from a creature that's living off human blood and stuff. Little do they know, though, it's actually partly human, and and it's like a hybrid of like a goat sort of thing, and drinks blood and craves human blood, sort of like the chupacabra sort of style. Um, a creature. But yeah, overall, the film is really slow. It's shot on video. It's a micro budget monster movie. Um, there is some little bit of practical effects, but they're really quick cuts, like the saw trap sort of style editing, and yeah, so to hide how shitty it looks. But still, for what the practically what they're able to come up with was all right looking. Most of it, you just see an arm come through like a door or something like you used to see in the 50s sort of thing. There's a lot of those stylized shots like that I was able to pick up watching this film. And the average movie watcher will hate this movie, but for someone who watches like everything possible in the horror genre, this one had some pretty funny little homages to like the cheesy B movies of the 50s, such as like the cat people's furry claw hand glove coming from a curtain. They basically do that same sort of style, but just through a doorway, and that which you see a lot in like B movie monster movies. But overall, this one was pretty slow and boring. They do have a whiny character in it who won't shut up, and yeah, but for the way what it was, it had some really comic, so bad it's good quality to it. Um, like they have this like really poorly composited CG killing scene where they rip up one of the kids in the tent, and it looked like a cartoon. I couldn't stop laughing at it. But yeah, but for what they do, they kind of hide they do use the trope "don't show the monster" pretty much at all. In this, they basically hide it to the point where you basically are just watching them fight nothing, and it's just weird camera angles, and they have the predator sort of like heat-seeking view for when the monster is running around, and for what they are able to show, it's not that great, and the acting is hard to sit through. Some of it is pretty bad, and the effects and everything are hokey and cheesy. But if you're looking for some really cheesy movie to watch, this one might be okay for you. But for most others, they're not. You're not going to want to sit through this. A lot of people say, "Oh, this is really bad," and I could see why. And I do think it's pretty bad, and mainly slow and boring, which is one thing a movie shouldn't do. So, but it seems like they had a plan of like action to, um, on how to like what they wanted to do. They just weren't sure on how to execute it, so they did the best they could at the time, and it came out looking like shit like that. And this is what we got. But I don't think it deserves as much harsh criticisms as it's getting. But still, it's not that great. So I'm gonna give The Craving a 1.5 out of 5. I thought it was a little bit better than what most people are saying online about it, but it's and I've seen way worse. I've talked about way worse movies on this list, like and at least The Exorcist tapes. You want to see a bad movie? You watch that. That's terrible. That's probably like the worst movie ever. So yeah, but compared to that, this one is a little bit of a step up, and it's not as bad. So, but yeah, the Craving is not that great, and I'm pretty sure you can find the whole thing on YouTube if you want to watch it. So I'll link it down below if I can find it, but if I can, I'll just link the trailer down below like always. Also down below is my Instagram. That's where I always post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my stories. I have the film title hashtag and subgenre film in a hashtag, so you're aware of it. So, and also my Letterbox is linked down below. Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating after watching the films. Follow me on one of those two platforms. Stay with this channel. Like this video, share it so more people aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. And also, if you have any other films or film franchises in any genre, comment those down below. I'll try my best to get them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. And yeah, well, that's it for this one. We're continuing on with the horror trend because I got two other road trip movies to check out. Next one's Feeding Ground, so make sure you ring the bell so we can see how cheesy and terrible that one is. And make sure you subscribe because hopefully we'll find something weird, obscure, and odd that you probably never thought of checking out together. Somewhat like this, so you hear my opinions on popular films, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And but that's it for this one. So watch out for all those chupacabra wannabes out there killing people out in the desert. And I guess I'll see you all in the next review. So until then, cheers.